Well, hello everyone. Alejandro J. Tornato here. I am the founder and CEO of Tornato Speaking, Leadership and Coaching LLC. And as you can see on the title for today's kind of a brief moment, is about kings, queens, and leadership. You know, if you heard the news yesterday, um, the whole world was uh, a little bit shocked at receiving the news that uh, Queen Elizabeth II uh, had passed uh, at 96 years of age, and after being the Queen of the Commonwealth of the UK and all the colonies for 7 decades, 70 years. I mean, the longest running monarch um, in history. And I mean, you may have different ideas. You may be someone who agrees with royalty and the monarchy in England. You may be someone who is completely against monarchy. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to start a debate whether you are for or against it. This is not the platform, and this is not the time to do that. But what I want to do, just because I spent about 15 years in the UK as a young man, um, I was given an opportunity to go to England to improve the language, and then that led me to stay in England to complete a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. And so I was there for a good part of my life. And so I got to know and interact with the English culture, and to see a little bit closer the connection between people, um, common people, and the royal family. And of course, I mean, even in England, I mean, some people were for the monarchy and some people were against it for a variety of reasons. And of course, I respect, and even back then, I respected um, every person's opinion and outlook on that. But what I want to share with all of you today, and throughout history, there have been many kings, many queens, and every single one of them had a particular way of behavior, of conducting themselves. But I'm not going to go through Queen Elizabeth II's life, but I'm just going to bring 5 points, which are 5 characteristics that Queen Elizabeth II displayed, in my opinion, throughout her tenure as the queen, and which are qualities and characteristics that are great determinants of how a leader should operate in the world. And the first one is that throughout her 70 years in sitting on the throne, being the monarch, being the queen, Queen Elizabeth II displayed a tremendous steadfastness. She was a steadfast kind of a leader. She was not movable into all kinds of distractions and different ideas and so forth. Even though, I mean, she went through different times. I mean, over a span of 70 years, and all the world leaders that she encountered. I don't know how many prime ministers in England, and how many world leaders globally. But she exercised steadfastness. It's not that one week, I mean, or one day she showed up one way, and then the next day, I mean, it was completely different, and so she was changing completely every single time. No, she was steadfast. She was steady. She was firm. And those are great qualities for great leadership. Steadfastness in your journey. The second one is that she was duty bound. She had such a high level of awareness when it came to her duty, or duties in plural. She was duty bound. She knew what her role was. She knew what she had to do. And then she actually did it. And that's what happens sometimes with leaders today. I mean, in the world, I mean, you see them that they know that they have to do something. And I truly believe that they know what's right, and yet they do what is completely opposite. But not this lady. She was duty bound. She knew what her duty was, and she never hesitated to perform her duty. Throughout 70 years, not just duty bound for a week or a month or a year. No, it was throughout her life. It was a constant in her to always be duty filled, duty bound. Whatever duty calls, I am going to answer that call toward my duty. And she was relentless in doing that. The third quality is she was a highly principled person holding strong values. Now, you may agree, I may agree or disagree with her values. That is not the issue. You may disagree with a leader's way of doing something. But if the leader goes and does it, whether you agree or disagree with it, if that is an effective leader, that leader will take responsibility for his or her actions. But when a leader is highly principled, it's not that a leader does not listen to other people, and just not to anybody, but leaders, we do have a kind of a small circle of influence, and we listen to that circle. We must listen. We have to be great listeners. But then in the end, we have to make the decisions. And if the decisions are good decisions and are favored decisions, and you keep moving forward in whatever it is that you're doing, great. But if once you make that decision fails, it's not that you're a bad leader. You just made a mistake, but you have to take ownership and take responsibility for that. And that's what a highly principled leader does. And you have to hold on to your values. There are things that you can negotiate, and you can listen to others, and you can negotiate, and you have the flexibility to change and to modify it, and to change 180 degrees perhaps. But there are certain things, your values, and your values should be so strong that they're non-negotiable. There are values in your life that are non-negotiable. Truthfulness could be a value that you have, is that love for the truth. And it doesn't matter who you talk to, or there is a possibility that if I just tweak the truth to my benefit, and perhaps I'm saying it's 98% truthful, but there's those 2% that may not be. That is going against your value. And is it really worth it going against your values? Don't you think that it is going to fire back at you? And you have to be very careful as a leader to know not deceive others, or even deceive yourself into believing that if you take a shortcut here and a shortcut there, that things are going to work well. Because they won't. Because sooner or later, things that are done in obscurity are going to show up in the light. And so the third is a highly principled leader holding strong values. Number 4, I truly believe that Queen Elizabeth II, during her reign of 70 years, she went through problems. She went through challenging times, crisis. My goodness, she was a queen during World War II under the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. And she drove an ambulance and so forth, and she helped in any way that she could. But But there were problems. There were problems in her own family. There was drama in her own family. Was she meddling, with that drama? Did she create an even bigger drama out of that? Did she magnify problems? No, she was a problem solver. She stayed in the periphery of the problems, but she was solving the problem. She was, because of her duty, she was solving problems and not letting problems just stay there and fester away, but she took responsibility, and she was a primary person, a primary element in resolution of problems. She did not avoid problems, and this is what leaders ought to do. Not to avoid problems, but to be present, fully present and active in resolving problems. We heard it very frequently, even from some leaders or so-called leaders. The buck stops here with me. Well, if that is the case, then you need to resolve issues, resolve problems, help people to be better, do better, have more, enhance people's experiences. If the buck stops here, then you are responsible. And if you're responsible, you have to take an active role. If the buck stops here, don't put the blame there. That's an easy way out. But leaders, real leaders, are not looking for easy ways out. They're looking for whatever it takes to get the job done, to solve problems, to remove obstacles, to keep going, to keep pursuing your duty, to keep pursuing your vision. And number 5, and with this one I close, is integrity. She displayed integrity, not for one day, for 1 week, for 1 month, for 1 year, for 10 years. No, it was for 70, for the whole of her life. Now, was she a perfect human being? Oh, no, by no means. It doesn't matter whether you are the King of England, or the Queen of England, or any member of royalty. Royalty does not give you the title of the perfect human being. There are no perfect human beings. We are all imperfect, moving toward betterment and improvement. We are works in progress. We are consistently working, or we should be consistently working in our own life to get better, to be better, to get toward, or to get closer to the very best version of who we can be. And I'm sure that Queen Elizabeth II, imperfectly, but she was on her quest, on her daily quest to be the very best queen that she could possibly be. And she had that spirit of integrity. She wanted to have that integrity with everyone whom she came in contact with. So let me just run through this. Steadfastness, duty bound, highly principled and holding strong values, being a problem solver, not being immersed in the problem and be confused by the problem, but be a problem solver. And last but not least, having a spirit of integrity in everything that she did. So these are 5 characteristics of great leaders. And I think that it's whether you agree with royalty, whether you agree with monarchy or not, that's not the point. The point is, are you going to, if you're not, are you going to implement these characteristics into your life and into your leadership? And if you're doing that, you're going to see that is going to make a real change in the way that you lead, in the way that you impact, in the way that you influence others. Is going to make a tremendous difference. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of this Friday. Enjoy the weekend. And until the next time that we connect, all the best and be well.